Hey Trekkies, it's summer, and you know what that means. It's time for Creation Entertainment's Trek to Las Vegas 2025. This year, the convention has been expanded to a 5-day schedule, August 6th through the 10th at the Rio Las Vegas Hotel. Meet all your favorite Star Trek pros in one place, and hey, maybe you swing by Vic's Lounge and you see our panel. It's a great way to meet people in person and have some fun with your fellow Trekkies. If you can't make it to Star Trek Las Vegas, of course, there's also other events around the country this year. Trek to Orlando, August 23rd through 24th. There's the Trek to New Jersey, September 6th and 7th. And finally, the Trek to Chicago, November 22nd and 23rd. We're looking forward to meeting as many of you as we can this year. So make sure that you get ready to trek to Las Vegas.
Is this thing on? Hello, hello. Welcome to Open Pike Night, a Strange New Worlds podcast where your personal logs are the prime directive. I'm your host, John T. Bolds, here tonight with some amazing guests on stage and in the studio to discuss Episode 4 of Strange New Worlds Season 3, A Space Adventure Hour. Join us tonight as we open a box of wigs and try to solve the mystery of whether the calls are coming from inside the podcast and which of our virtual co-hosts is actually virtual. Joining me tonight are my co-hosts, the man who's been looking forward to rocking his latest costume from Spirit Halloween, Carmen San Francisco, but she's actually an astronaut on a virtual deck, Jesse Bailey.
You have no idea how frequently my wife tries to get me to go to Spirit Halloween, so that actually is a perfect introduction. But also, is that a joke, Carmen San Francisco, because that's where Star Trek Starfleet Academy is?
A little bit, but also because Spirit Halloween names blatantly ripped off copyrighted stuff with fake silly names.
Sorry I made you explain that, because that's a really good joke.
That's okay. Also, Spirit Halloween, the history of Spirit Halloween is fascinating if you do not know it. Look it up sometime. And the man who simultaneously has motive to strangle Jesse and I while also fully appreciating what we do for his career, host of Green Shirt and Newbies Trek through TNG, Cameron Harrison.
Well, since Jesse is dead in this metaphor, I guess it's up to me to say, hashtag the Stardiver CEO did nothing wrong.
Yes, they did.
Oh, and tonight we have, I think, what's probably a pretty divisive episode, just based on what it seems like, how it seems like people are reacting. We get holodeck in Strange New Worlds. We get holodeck on the first Enterprise.
The one thing that brings everyone together with this episode, though, everyone loves the hair again.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Even my wife just walked by while I was watching and said, "Oh, thank God they changed the hair back."
Yes. There were a couple of our callers. We had 18 calls for this episode, and if you flash back to, if you've been listening from the very beginning, I was begging for the time when we had to probably narrow calls down because we got so many. I was wrong. It's heartbreaking. But I went ahead and we changed up some stuff this time, so there are some montages of callers, so every voice gets heard. Just more about specific topics as we go through. So I'm trying something a little new here on Open Pike Night. But yes, please keep the calls coming. We will not keep somebody on the cutting room floor week after week. I promise you that. If we have to start pruning and do some call taking later on after the season is over, your voice will be heard.
John has spreadsheets involved in this, to be fair.
A little bit. It's 'cause we're going to get to that point.
And you're totally right, John. So as the social media manager for Open Pike Night, which just means person who spends too much time online, this episode is incredibly divisive. I think for the first time ever, well, maybe since the musical, I'm seeing people say, I hate this episode. This is my least favorite episode ever. Mm-hmm. I had one person say that they have seen every episode of Star Trek on its first airing since the original series, and they turned this episode off like 15 minutes in, which feels like an exaggeration to me, but I'm also like, Really? You watched Code of Honor all the way through? You watched like Sub Rosa all the way through? You watched Masks all the way through, but you turned this off?
Masks is amazing.
But it's amazing for like the reasons of cheese, right? Like, I understand that not every episode is for everybody, but like, watch the whole episode before you decide I'm not watching the rest of this. That's just me, but
For sure.
I'm sure that we'll get into the feelings that people have about this episode, and boy, do they have feelings.
Yeah, I'm curious because I've seen some complaints about this episode, and I'm curious if our listeners share any of those complaints. I'm guessing not so much. So I'll wait, but I'll wait to bring it up to see if anyone else does first.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we got some montages, and we are open Pike night. So let's go ahead and open with our montage about Pike.
I loved Anson Mount. This guy is just killing it when it comes to the silly roles. And guess what, Cam? Guess who he reminded me of? With his silly wig and his funny little pooch. He reminded me of Val Kilmer from The Saint as the weirdo, creepy science guy who had a crush on Elizabeth Shue.
She's right.
Yes, I'm your Chief Anson One love officer, and let me get this straight. He was so awesome. So good. The hair, the beer belly, the glasses, the voice. Gosh, Anson was brill.
It won't surprise you to know that I loved Anson's performance best of all, both as Chris and TK.
And Anson was amazing. I would love to see him someday live in an actual play in theaters. It would be so good.
The line from Bellows, I'm a writer, I'm never happy about anything, it made me laugh so hard because, as Homer Simpson said, it's funny because it's true.
So, yeah, I can't really find... I have not been enjoying Pike too much this season because he's been either the comic relief or really kind of, I don't know, not bumbling, but very lacking confidence as a captain. But man, I love both of the roles he plays in this episode, and it feels like he's captaining for real again this time.
I don't know. I feel like this is his most bumbling moment when Uhura and Scotty are having a whispered conversation not far from him, and he's like, "Oh, I probably don't need to know anything about that."
Yeah, that scene, I couldn't tell because of how it was shot. Like, is he supposed to be hearing that whole thing or like trying to lean that direction to hear the whole thing? But I don't know. It works for me. And I'll say up front, the first time I watched this episode, I felt, oh, this is not my favorite episode of the season. And I still feel that way. But I love it a lot more now that I have watched it again. I think my biggest issue was that I watched like Shuttle to Confori and then I watched this right after it. And they're two wildly different episodes.
Yeah.
The tone change is like a cliff between these two episodes. And I think I was just, I loved Confori so much that I think it colored my initial reaction to this episode. One thing that I think is really cool here is that it's obvious that these characters are all playing versions of characters we know, right? But I was like, who is Captain Pike? And then like the day before this episode came out, I realized, well, he's the creator. I wonder if he's supposed to be Gene Roddenberry. So I looked up photos of Gene Roddenberry, and I was like, oh, he's supposed to be Gene Roddenberry. Like, it is absolutely that.
Jesse, I got you beat there because I also watched it. And very clearly, you know that they're talking about Star Trek. But all the characters, I was like, oh, I just assume they're the murder mystery. Because we were so fixated on like, oh, he's Elliot Gould. These are murder mystery trope characters. I just had that in my mind. So even when I bumped a little bit on actress turned producer, I was like, oh, that's a weird thing to do. But okay, that's
weird. Who's done that in history, Cam?
I'm interviewing Jonathan Frakes, as you may have seen in our 10-minute interview with him. And the very first answer he starts giving me is, oh, I love like the Gene Roddenberry homage. I'm in the moment, I'm going, what Gene Roddenberry homage? What are you Lucille Ball, what are you? Oh, I had to completely pivot some of my questions right there in the moment with him. So, you're not alone.
There's
Justin.
so many levels.
I got you beat, Cam, because there's so many levels that if you really, really, really know the history of Paramount, you know that the Paramount logo is based on the Ben Lomond mountain in Utah, just north of where I used to live. So Le Mans Studios is Paramount because that's the mountain that it's based on.
There must be so many hidden Easter eggs with these names.
Oh, yeah.
They're tossing around. I want to say real quick for the record, I adore that scene with her and Scotty. It's great.
Yes.
I was just
Yes.
poking fun at Pike in that.
Yeah.
And to bring it back to the montage, Pike is amazing in this. Anson is amazing in this. I don't know what... Maybe I just wanted more time with these characters because everyone is having so much fun with these holodeck characters they get to play. And I feel like some of them get... Like Anson's Gene gets quite a bit to do, but then I don't know what Mabenga's doing back there. Like, he's fine, but I want more with him. I want more with these characters. I don't really know what their relationships are to each other. There's the line about the house, which Jonathan Frakes loved, and when I rewatched it, I was like, I don't get it. I don't understand. That's his first line. I don't understand what it's telling me about his character or his relationship with the Lucille Ball character or anything.
I think, okay, the Anson Mount version of Gene Roddenberry, I didn't know Gene Roddenberry, spoiler alert, but Jonathan Frakes did, right? And I think having him on set really helped with that. But from what I've learned about Gene Roddenberry, mostly through watching documentaries and things like that, it feels like Anson really did some research because he's soft-spoken, but kind of also a little bit pissy and is like maybe overly sentimental on certain things, right? Like so attached to the idea of things. He's a romantic, right? So when she mentions selling her house, to have him like feel that pain of, you loved that house, I think that's part of where that comes from. But I wonder, like, if there was any time on set where he was like, hey, what would Gene do in this situation, or how would Gene sound? Because there are so many layers to this Anson performance, and I agree with the callers. I mean, he might be my favorite character in this episode, maybe.
Oh, I know who my favorite characters that make him a shock to people. But to the Anson Gene point, that's the criticism I'm seeing coming from a lot of people. At least if you on our YouTube video, the Jonathan Frakes episode is getting a lot of attention, a lot of comments, pretty evenly split, as we said. A lot of people seem really offended at what this episode is doing to A, Trek, B, William Shatner, and C, Gene Roddenberry. And my thing is like, I don't know. I think Jonathan Frakes has a better idea of what would be offensive to Gene Roddenberry than you do, random YouTube commenter. So if you guys want to drown them out, go add some comments and boost up the algorithm on our video.
And I mean, for me, it's like, this is so clearly a loving homage, right? Like, yes, those, but it's a loving homage of real people, and real people are complicated. We're going to talk about this meta aspect later because we definitely have feelings on it, and I'm interested to hear what our callers thought about it, because I agree, Cam, I'm seeing a lot of that negativity, and I don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
It's like they've never seen a William Shatner impression before.
Right.
Like, where are these people coming? What rock have they been living under?
Yeah. I mean,
there's a video of William Shatner lovingly judging other people's Shatner and Kirk impressions. Like, he's fine with it, everybody.
It's a societal thing we have grown up doing. People were making fun of Shatner before any of the hosts of this podcast were born. It's like, this has been happening for decades. But we do have lots of good callers. Let's go ahead and hear from one of our new callers this episode. Here is Sarah. A lot of Sarahs.
Hi, guys. This is Sarah here calling in from Ireland. Love your podcast. But, oh my God, I'm not loving Spock and La'an. Come on now, it's been a bare minute. They cannot do this. It's just, no, you can't. I'm upset. But finally Una is redeemed from my last week's horror show and her terrible hair and her terrible interaction with Erica. Having Una and Scotty really be a mentor and interact in such a kind way, it was beautiful. My Una is back. Her hair is back. Everything is fine. Everything is fine.
I'm a little sad she was the first casualty because she was great as, I forget the character's name, but the Lucille Ball stand-in.
Yeah. She was fantastic. It was like, it felt like she was really just like, I'm here to chew scenery and here to like play it bigger than I feel like most anybody else did besides Anson. And then, yeah, she's just dead immediately.
She does an amazing job. Okay, couple things. First of all, Sarah, I agree with you. It was good to see Una being happy and sweet again. But for me, it made me even angrier that she couldn't be happy and sweet with Ortegas. Second of all, she's rocking the red hair. Like, it's the exact opposite of last week's hair. It's a revelation of a wig. It's gorgeous. She does a great job. She's got a little bit of that like East Coast accent going on, and then when her character dies, you can see Lucille Ball's like physical comedy chops in her. Like, she's very melodramatic, throwing her arms around. It's a great performance.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
That's. I mean, I love the death scene. She obviously had fun, but yeah, it is very kind of.
It's very Lucy.
The I Love Lucy show
Yeah.
style. Yeah. But I gotta disagree. Spock and La'an, I don't know. Like, I texted these guys right after I watched this episode. Whoa! And then I was like, why did I text that? I didn't really love this episode that much because I was with them. Like my first watch through, I was like, I don't know if I really get it. But it was because of that moment at the end, the kiss, and all. I don't. I have to go back to what Alice said a couple episodes ago. I think these two just have so much chemistry bursting off screen. I'm kind of like, yeah, okay, let's watch these two kiss for a while. I'm okay with that. Yeah,
Their dance scene, like, there's no other way to say it. It's
Both
hot.
their dance scenes.
Like, it is amazing.
second scene, that is like late night Cinemax levels of steamy.
I was here's my one complaint about Spock and La'an. People are using La'ak as their ship name. Come on. Spawn is right there. Like,
and there's already a Star Trek character named Locke.
right.
So
Like,
Well, we had lots of thoughts about that from our callers, so let's hear what they have to say, because I think this might be the divisive part of the episode.
ooh.
Here we go.
Hey guys, it's Marcy from Idle Ride Podcast again, and I had to talk about this episode because I know Cam's gonna love it because it's basically Dixon Hill on crack. John's gonna be kind of middle ground. He may or may not like it, I'm not sure, but I know Jesse's gonna be my boy. Because guess what? La'an and Spock, they have my heart on Lockdown. That's right, that's their new ship name. I love it.
Screw Spock. This is all about La'an. For all the absolute awful she's been through, overdue for a personal win. A little surprised on how quick that ramped up, however.
I'm not so sure about the romance part. I'm giving it some pause until we see where it goes.
Spock and La'an. I'm not buying the romance. And look, I'm all good. Let's do romance in Star Trek. I like Pike and Battelle. But why do we have to keep pairing off Spock?
Wow, Spock moved on quicker than you can say Dr. Corby, didn't he? And, you know, for Spock-Kirk shippers, interesting that La'an liked Kirk and then she liked Spock.
Okay, I get it. He is hot Spock after all. Christine left him. He is not with the Brink, but really? Another love story for Spock so soon? I don't think we need that right now.
I'm not sure about the Lan and Spock romance. I also felt more that they were nearing a brother-sister relationship. But it is interesting that the computer seemed to know La'an's feelings better than she did.
I'm not really into the emerging La'an-Spock relationship. I do think they have more chemistry than Spock and Chapel, but still, we just got out of that. Do we really need to race back into another Spock relationship?
Yeah, my feelings with that is that it didn't come across as a whole separate relationship, like a new romantic subplot to me. It still feels like a continuation of the Spock-Chapel relationship. Like, this is the rebound. This is him getting over her. This is La'an looking for her new outlook on life. I don't feel the relationship is like its own plot in and of itself, but just an element of these other still continuing plot lines.
I think the speed is an understandable issue for folks to have with this. Like, the whole first part of the season is like, let's have him have another relationship problem, and then, you know, he'll work his way through that.
Have you ever found yourself in a rebound relationship, Jesse? It happens pretty quick.
But she was helping him with the rebound in episode 2. 2 episodes ago, she was counseling him, be careful, don't go a little overboard when you greet her at the transport.
Well, and I think the way they had him get over it, like having him be the one to state to everybody on the ship, we are not supposed to be together. This reality is wrong. I think it was shortcutting some of his progress, right? Like, we talked about it. He should have been over it already. There was a whole song and dance about it, and he still was not over it. But I think that episode really cemented that he's ready to move on. But I get it. I understand the resistance to, like, really 2 episodes later, there's another thing going here. And I also agree with the question of, like, why does he have to be paired off with somebody immediately?
Yeah.
I think for me, it's okay because I'm happy to see La'an pair off with somebody, and I don't really know who else we could use in the cast at this point, or on the crew at this point, right? Because Kirk's not always there. Scotty's clearly too young and unsure of himself. I think that the chemistry and the kind of characters that they are make it make sense. Like, they're both very no-nonsense people who are, you know, open to what they can see. And I don't know, it just works for me. It's hot.
This is a weird way for Jesse to admit to the audience that he's never heard of lesbians. That's all I'm saying.
I've heard of them, okay? I've just never seen them on TV.
Davey Perez actually talks about this a little bit in our next Strange New Words episode, dropping shortly, I guess 2 days after this one. So here, there. But he basically talks about how, like, even in TOS, Spock had it going on. Like, Kirk was not the only ladies' man on the Enterprise, and Leonard Nimoy was a sex symbol at that time, so it fits. But yeah, I think, just to echo you, Jesse, and to say I understand where people are coming from, I think intellectually I was like, oh, this is fast. Oh, this is another relationship. Everything everyone was saying, just for some reason, the chemistry did smash all those walls for me. I was like, okay, I'm here for it. I'm down.
It's honestly, I think it's the best chemistry I've seen on this show so far.
Yeah.
Of any of the pairings we've seen, this chemistry is strong.
And to Jesse and Davey's point, I'm going to give one more preview of this episode coming up. When they mind melded in season 1, there was chemistry there, and Davey says he remembered seeing that, and that was part of, like, what led them to pairing them up in this season.
And I'll put you on the spot, John. If not Spock, then who for La'an?
Love triangle with Ortegas' brother and Uhura. Everybody wants that little twink.
Yeah.
Come on. She would break him in half. Anyway, let's go ahead and hear from another one of our callers. Here is Matt Law.
Hey, Open Pike, it's Matt from the Prove It To Me podcast. This episode, A Space Adventure Hour, proves that we are still living in what is quite probably the greatest era of Star Trek. Why? Right now, we get 10 high production quality episodes per season instead of 26. There is no room for filler. They just used 10% of this season to address all of Trek fandom, breaking the fourth wall, and they did this through writers, directors, and showrunners who truly know and love the franchise and its fans. Even the fans who say they're fans but are selective about the parts of Trek of which they are fans. Like, maybe you're one of those obnoxious fans that is compelled to state over and over again that Paul Wesley moderately resembles a young Jim Carrey and doesn't represent Jim Kirk quite the way you expected him to. Fine, here's Paul Wesley doing a Shatner impression. Maybe you're one of those fans who's tired of Hot Spock and Chapel extending their canonical romance. Fine, here's Hot Spock getting busy with Khan's distant descendant. Maybe you're one of those fans who must argue incessantly on the canonical history of the holodeck. Fine, we just put that to bed. Or maybe you're a true fan and Star Trek means everything to you, how you view the world, and how you dream. That's great. Here's a love letter we embedded in the dialogue of a silly murder mystery holodeck episode. This is what I'm here for, guys. Live long and prosper.
God, 2 weeks in a row of Matt Law just crushing it. I'm
yeah. And I mean, he's not wrong. Like, this does feel like Strange New Worlds being like, you know what? All you old school Trek is the best Trek haters, this is still Star Trek, and, you know, suck it, losers. and I'm enjoying seeing, like, oh man, people really are up in arms about this in either direction.
Yeah.
But they're talking about Star Trek.
I like everything that Matt mentioned because it took me to the second watch because I was still hungover from Confori, but this is exactly all the things that I took away from it. Like, we know that there are animated series fans in the writer's room. This recreation room line that Anson has is a callback to the animated series where they invented the holodeck. and it was on the Enterprise. So a lot of those people that are like, well, there's not supposed to be a holodeck on this Enterprise. It's like, oh, well, how into the canon are you? Because, yeah, there totally is. Like, they end up with one in the animated series, and it was just too difficult to do in live action. But
okay, I have a question.
Go ahead.
How do you temporarily install a holodeck on the Enterprise? Because that shit is big. It is at least 2 floors tall.
Well,
it's a whole room. Like, did they remove a room from the Enterprise to put in this one thing for them to test run?
They probably converted a cargo bay. It's just you got to install.
Yeah, there's got to be modular spaces.
Yeah,
on any ship, you're going to have big open spaces for whatever we need a big open space for.
I suppose they could, set up some walls in a cargo bay. Still, and I know they did this all the time in TNG, but we're not in 90s Trek anymore. Do not test run this shit when you're out at a pulsar star. Like, just fly around space dock and test run this. What are we doing?
I think that this era of Starfleet was more reckless and didn't have as many safety protocols.
Well, what era were they not reckless?
It's space travel by its nature is a little reckless. Like,
we need hijinks to happen. Throw out the safety protocols.
Risk is our business, as Kirk once said. Now,
that's right.
There's so much to love in this episode that feels TOS to me. Here's the thing that I'm not sure was intentional or not. In the very beginning, Una says, ships will soon be able to stay out for longer than 5 years without returning to Federation. She doesn't say the Federation or Federation Space.
Or Federation Space.
Like, I'm not here to remind her that the Federation is not a town and we are not in a town. But I wonder, is this an intentional, like, well, in TOS they wouldn't have done a second take. Let's not do a second take. Or is it like an actual very small flub?
I think you're a little too into the meta on that one.
I'm happy to be forgiving of things that could be viewed as mistakes. You know that about me.
I understand. So how many people were shocked that the 60s homage was also the 70s murder mystery? And I don't know why we were, because their hair is the same. We should have picked up on it. They had similar hairstyles, but there it was, Yeah,
and I was like, oh man, they packed most of what was in that first trailer into this one episode.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of us called that.
And we were all worried about, like, oh, there's so much Kirk in this season. At least 4 episodes of Kirk. Actually, 2 of them were 1 episode, and it's not even Kirk. It's just a hologram that looks like him. So, not to worry, I guess.
But it is Kirk? Like, more Kirk than Kirk? I don't know. It's double Kirk?
To Matt's other point about Wesley's Kirk here, I loved it. I loved his performance. And I think that that's another place where people, as we mentioned before, are like, this is mean-spirited and this, that, and the other thing. I'm like, this is absolutely William Shatner. Like, he has a very specific cadence. And it goes back to what I've asked of people all along about Wesley's Kirk. Like, do you want a Shatner impression? And I think most people are more along the lines of, well, he's too skinny. Which, I get, but it's like, leave the guy alone. He's in shape. Like, that's not a thing to be mad at. But his Shatner impression goes beyond the scenes in The Last Frontier, right? Like, he's doing a Shatner impression even when they're in the mansion. If you've ever seen an interview with Shatner, he's very much that way, where he's very calm and collected, and then decides, actually, I'm very passionate about one thing that I just remembered, and I'm going to bring that up and throw it in your face. Like, he did a really good job. I think it's actually an incredibly respectful performance all the way around.
I mean, do these people also hate Galaxy Quest? I don't understand.
Or Lower Decks?
Baked into... Yeah. Anyway, I agree 100%. I think his Shatner impression is phenomenal. I don't know if I've seen a Shatner impression like it, because what it felt like to me is it felt like he took the elements of a Shatner impression and then built a whole new character utilizing those elements, because he'll do a very Shatner-y thing and then he'll like move into something different. And specifically with the Final Frontier scenes, like he'll do something else with it that's not a Shatner impression, and then he'll come back to it, but it's all organic and of one thing. So it felt like he built like the super Shatner, the super Kirk. I don't know. It's fascinating to watch.
He drank the ooze and became Super Shatner, like in Teenage Mutant Ninja
Yeah.
Turtles 2, The Secret
Exactly.
of the Ooze. His facial expressions, amazing.
And I'll just say, Maxwell Saint, the Paul Wesley character in this episode, is my favorite thing about this episode. Every scene he's in, amazing.
And I agree with both of you guys. Jesse, you're right. In the murder mystery, he is doing a Shatner impression. In the last frontier, he's doing an impression of a Shatner impression. Like, he's not doing Shatner, he's doing all of us the way we do Shatner and have been doing Shatner for 60 years. Like, and it's fun. It's really fun. I'm not a huge fan of the bloopers at the end, because it's like, all right, stage bloopers are never really that funny. I don't know. They're trying to take our brain cells, and they took our brain cells. I laugh every time I say
Yeah.
Okay. I guess that's what we're doing.
We'll get our brain cells back.
Like, that's the least far-fetched part of the parody, right? You've got episodes like Spock's brain. You have the episode where, is it Neelix's lungs get stolen? Like,
something
there's
like that,
all kinds of stuff here where it's like, oh, this actually just fits. Like, they're not even making something up.
Yeah.
I think my favorite just bit of wording in that whole first sequence is the Alliance of Outer Space Planets.
Right. Yes.
As opposed to the Inner Space Planet? What other planets are there?
Yeah. And the very obvious, I felt like the alien was more of a TNG reference to the way, because is it Armus? No, which alien is it that calls them
ugly bags of mostly water?
Ugly bags of mostly water. Yeah.
The home soil, silicon-based life.
Well,
form.
and
so
the thing I love about that alien is that it's got some Baylock energy, right? But it's it also reminded me of the mutants from this island Earth. Do I have any Mystery Science Theater 3000 fans out there?
Yeah.
I was like, they've hit so many, all the way through, so many levels, so many facets. Like, they care so much, and it absolutely comes across on the screen. I was delighted by this episode once I gave it its space. Once I held space for it, as Spock would say.
Yeah. Let's hear what some of our callers thought about the whole meta-ness of it.
Oh, and Scotty, loved the way he put himself into the film La'an in Holospock Watch.
Over the top meta nature of it all. I think they kind of overdid it.
I've been concerned this season might be a little too gimmick-driven at the expense of focus on storytelling, and I was at first worried a holodeck episode would just be TNG nostalgia bait. But between the great sets, the awesome costumes, and just getting to see the cast have a lot of fun, I actually found it all very charming, and the meta aspect I was originally worried about ended up feeling like a sweet tribute to the spirit of TOS, and Trek in general.
Hello, Open Pike Night. First off, I'm loving your companion podcast, Strange New Words. Hearing from the writers who this episode is obviously kind of a love letter to, certainly Celia Rose Gooding's speech is a testament to them and their impact on people like me.
Because who cares about all that other 60s crap? Like, everybody else is going to love it.
I liked the explanation for why the characters would look like the crew, and they all did such good jobs with the double parts.
The multi-layered characters, the accents, especially Paul really doing Shatner, and Anson playing Gene. Amazing.
And I really, really love Paul Wesley in this. He is great, overplaying and portraying Shatner.
For someone who started watching Star Trek at 12 years old in 1966 when it premiered, Star Trek did give me hope. It gave me a sense of family that I was sort of lacking at the time. Star Trek has always been my touchstone for comfort, for family, for creativity, for devotion, love, respect, honor, loyalty, and duty.
Okay, my favorite character was Scotty's production assistant. Like, he's in one scene, and for the first half of that scene, you don't even see his face. You just see him in this goofy striped shirt, and he's very uncomfortable and nervous. Like, he absolutely nailed that. And then you've got, like, he's telling La'an something very scary while lighting his face with a flashlight. Like, like we kept saying, so many levels. And I gotta know, you guys, favorite accent. Like, La'an's American accent, very good. Getting to hear Jess Bush's actual accent, very good.
That's what I loved.
Babs was trying to do a British accent with his accent, though, right?
Yeah.
I was like, it took me a while the second time. Like, is he trying to be British, but just also with his accent?
Very
'Cause
subtle.
I love that.
But it's a very specific kind of like British invasion rocker
Yes.
British. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the clipped. It's more the way he's talking, not the accent he's got when he's talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel, it sounds like I might be on the same page as Michelle a bit, which we often are. There's a lot of layers to this onion. It's very ambitious. I respect the hell out of what this episode is wanting to do. It's a bit of sensory overload for me. I remember the first time I was watching this, one of the problems I had is like, as soon as they get in the holodeck, you are just bombarded with exposition. And I felt like I was playing catch up the whole time, which is partly probably why I didn't pick up on a lot of the layers that I did pay attention to the second time. But then it just felt like every scene was kind of about something different. It's a murder mystery, but the killer is actually just a cheat who has no motive and shouldn't be there. So it's not a murder mystery. And it's a love letter to Trek, but it's also this arc of La'ans, and sometimes they intersect and sometimes it doesn't. And I really want to get into that later with you guys. But for right now, just saying like it's a lot, and I think it was too much for me. It was a little too much.
Disagree, and I think it's all tied to La'an's story, because that monologue at the end about the power of art and how it can change the world and things like that.
Uhura's monologue?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's more in the middle, but to be
that
pedantic.
applies. Well, what are Star Trek podcasters if not pedantic? So, of course, that applies to Star Trek, right, and science fiction and all those things. But it also specifically applies to La'an's exact current situation, because the murder mystery stories that she's talking about were her first chance to care about something other than real life. She got into them right after she was rescued from the Gorn, when she's still traumatized and all this stuff is going on that's really terrible for her. And then the captain of the ship that rescues her offers her this escape. And in her own words, she became obsessed with it. She is the Trekkie in this episode. And that's not a color you see on La'an very often.
I was wondering if that was the case, because, as you say, Uhura has this great speech. I love Holo Uhura's speech there. It is great and applies to so much about Star Trek and us as the viewers and everything. And it cuts to La'an. There's many moments throughout the episode where it cuts to La'an, and she's clearly having a moment. And I'll go through some of them, but let's talk about this one, because the music swells, and she's obviously having a character arc moment. I mean, I guess she had that escape with those stories, which was information we were told at the beginning of this episode. We were told that, but not showing it. We were told that she found ballet actually before the trauma. She was into ballet, and now she's finding it again. I don't know. In this episode, is she finding solace through art, through stories? Not really. She's finding solace through companionship.
She's learning
with
about
Spock.
herself through art, which is
how
she learns that she's actually way into Spock, because until then she was like, I don't know, like maybe I misread that situation and this, that, and the other thing, right? And then she goes, oh, the computer realized I would never suspect you, because I think one of the callers mentioned the computer seems to know her feelings better than she does.
Because he's not a character in the play. That's why she would suspect him, not because she has feelings for him.
Yeah, this is a very create Data the greatest enemy he's ever faced.
Oh my
Moriarty.
gosh!
Like the Spock Moriarty parallels are many, and we'll, once we get to the holodeck, we'll talk about Spock and all that. But
yeah, I have holodeck thoughts, but.
Because she mentions the battle simulations a couple times, and I feel like La'an is still approaching it as a battle simulation more than a mystery.
Right.
And I never really feel like she's fully into the mystery that she's trying to solve. She is still always of the mind of, I must beat the computer. I must. She is in beta testing mode. She's playing the game, but she's looking to see how she can. She's checking every drawer. She's bumping into every object to see if she can break the game.
Hovering the mouse over every pixel.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think I see what you're saying. But I don't know if they're mutually exclusive.
I saw her as closer to Picard. She shows up in costume. She puts on an accent. She's here to have fun. Like,
Oh, well, to jump to the holodeck, like, she's a much better role player than Picard ever was. She has like a small moment of, hi, Uhura, and then she is in character and playing it, and I loved that.
Now, here's my biggest complaint. If you need to help somebody relax and give them some time off, don't give it to La'an, give it to freaking Ortegas, because that's what we know she needs. And Una even says to La'an, I know you like a challenge, or you asked for a challenge, or something like that. And then later on, when Erica is piloting around this wave coming from this star, she says, I do like a challenge. It almost feels like it was originally going to be her on the holodeck, and then they changed it, which I'm still happy with the final episode. I'm just also still mad that we have not given Erica some shore leave or some therapy or something on screen.
Okay, but I want to drill down into Lon's character arc, because for me that is like my big problem with this episode is that, so there's some good stuff with Hollow Kirk there, where he's like, are you two into each other? Because that's the story I'm following on right now is, she's gotten over some trauma. She's looking to live her best life. She wants to live, laugh, eat, pray, or whatever. She's going to do all that with Spock. Okay. So Hollow Kirk gives them some kind of little subtext that she responds to. She says that, Hollow Chapel says, is it wrong to want love and be good in career? Is that what she's going through? I don't know. Is she having trouble balancing a love life and a career life? I don't recall that ever being part of Lon's character. Yeah. There's another moment where she obviously has a character beat on, they all work together, yet they let their emotions jeopardize the work they all shared. Is that happening with Lon right now? Is that happening with the crew?
I'm going to point to her song in Subspace Rhapsody. She wants to know how it would feel to fly blind, to let yourself be led by your heart. And I think this is indicating that she's not quite there. I don't think she gets there until after the simulation is over and she's in Spock's quarters doing the world's hottest tango, because she's when Maxwell Saint asks them, are you guys a thing? She's like caught off guard. She doth protest a little too much, but I think that that's genuine because she hadn't actually considered that at that point. So for me, the character beats
But
work.
there's all this talk of career and work, and I'm like, I'm not tracking that with this character at all.
Work has always, the mission has always been her guiding light, right? Like, so for me, that's the same as work in this case, because that's where they work. But I don't know. I think for me, it just works. I think it's played believably. I think that the performances bring it across. I couldn't tell you if like clinically, is it all there in the writing 100%? I don't know. I can't speak to that. I'm not good at constructing a story.
Well, I mean, if you're tracking that part of her character, then it was at some point.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, for me, it works because it fits who she is. She's very business oriented, I guess is the way you would say it. But you can see the cracks forming in her throughout the last two seasons. Like, she does decide, you know what, I'm going to go tell Kirk how I feel. And then she gets shut down. So I could absolutely see her pulling back from that, going back to all business La'an. And then she's trying to help Spock get through this relationship. And then maybe there's something more there. And then neither of them act on it immediately because they've both recently been hurt, and they take the time to think about it. And then they essentially both ask each other for consent before the kiss. And it just fits for me.
Well, I'm going to put a pin on this. I've got more to come back to, but
okay. Let's go ahead and hear from another caller. Here is Kay Sarah.
Hey, Open Pike Night. Kay Sarah here. Still a bit giddy from a space adventure hour. What a tribute to writers and tellers of stories we have in this ep. Being a writer and a word type person myself, I love that a fellow word nerd in that writer's room employed the oft used recreation versus recreation example of necessary prefix hyphenation to squeeze the existence of holodeck technology into TOS Rec Room lore. Finally, the monologue that Joni Uhura gives about the power of a sci-fi TV show to inspire and to heal and to affirm was a stirring verbal stab right into the black hearts of corporate media owners who lick the boots of nope. I'm not going to go off on that rant. And for the writers to give those words to our holodeck Uhura
Yes.
lookalike, it was a fitting tribute to Uhura's legacy, to Nichelle's legacy, and to Celia, who is crafting their own stellar legacy. I'm all out of words now. This is Que Sera Sera. I'm off to my brain cells retrieved from Agonian's evil.
100%. Again, I love that speech from Hollow Uhura for all the reasons you just said on its own. It's great.
I do wonder if at any point writing this episode, there was the question of, is this too much? Are we being too effusive of our own profession, that kind of a thing? And I have to say no. I think they nailed the balance perfectly, because they had the actors play exaggerated versions of writers, and all of the layers that come with that. But also, Uhura's character isn't a writer. She's somebody who understands good business. And I absolutely hear you on that, Que Sera Sera. Like, there's a whole other rant that you didn't record, and I'm with you on that rant. Like, absolutely, 100% same page. Yeah. But having a character who's not a writer and just understands the value of the thing deliver that, I think is part of why it works for me. Because it's very easy to... It would have been easy for that to come across as like, here are the writers stroking their own egos and talking about the importance of what they do. But it didn't feel that way at all to me. And you know what? Even if they had gone a little harder at it, they're not incorrect. So I'm very happy with the balance that they struck. And that was a great call all the way through. Thank you for calling.
And I mean, I do appreciate, the timing of this. Strange New Worlds seems to be very lucky with the timing of episodes that they wrote 2 years ago and how extremely topical those episodes seem to be for the exact moment they come out. I'd be lying if I didn't think like once a week or so, I was like, should we be working with Paramount in any way whatsoever? Is it ethical right now for us to give attention to a network that is making so many terrible choices, both politically and creatively? But it's a question that does need to be asked, but also it's like, well, Star Trek does kind of help you ask those questions. And, it is the moral compass that, Celia delivers in that monologue. And it is, I think, for the way that could have been a ham-fisted speech, for all the ways it could have been, they did choose the right vessel and the right setting to deliver that speech in, that it is as meaningful as they wanted it to be.
And I'm right there with you, John. Like, as a person who spends time on our social media, I see a lot of folks boycotting Paramount. I'm not going to disagree with that decision. I fully understand where people are coming from with that. For me, having spoken so much with the people that make the show across many different facets, it's like, it's hard for me to discount all that hard work that they're doing, because they're not going into it thinking, we're going to contribute to the machine and we're going to help, keep other viewpoints suppressed. Like, they're going into it with the exact opposite intentions. They are behind enemy lines, and they are still producing something that has a ton of value. And so for me, that really helps me with that struggle. But I agree with you, that struggle is there, and it is a question that I have asked myself as well.
Money people gonna money, but the people making the shows,
right.
It's making movies and TV costs a lot of money, sadly.
Yes. Yeah.
Michael Shannon. Oh, I'm sorry. I was supposed to say that 2 calls ago, but I got distracted. He doesn't look like Jim Carrey this episode to me. I was getting hardcore Michael Shannon vibes from our good friend Paul Wesley in this episode. I don't know why.
I can see that.
Also, last call, I meant to address Grayson with thank you for enjoying our Strange New Words side cast. Don't worry. One for this episode will be coming out probably tomorrow. It's going to be a real tight turnaround to try to get it out before the next episode. We'll see, but be on the lookout. We will be talking, fingers crossed, with Dana Horgan, who wrote this episode. So
yeah,
lots more information there.
Now let's talk about the holodeck. We got a couple callers with some thoughts on that, and then we can dive right into Cam's favorite topic in Star Trek. How does the holodeck work?
I have no holodeck thoughts at all.
Here we go.
In Series 1 of Enterprise, Charles Trip Tucker III encounters alien tech that is a holodeck. He is apparently the first human to see anything like it. And now the Federation is using similar tech. Why can we not acknowledge this room's real roots?
Also, my Crusher connection this week is about the holodeck and, of course, Dixon Hill in The Big Goodbye, very similar to Amelia.
So, yeah, we got a holodeck. Cam, what are the rules on this holodeck this time?
Well, we've got 5 minutes to discuss them, John, and T-Volts,
let's
as
do
you
it.
know, if we're going to bring over green shirt rules. I mean, just real quick, the people who are like, these writers are obviously not Star Trek fans, or this isn't real Star Trek. I'm sorry. Our murder mystery on the holodeck isn't real Star Trek? That's almost only like 5 to 10 other Star Trek episodes.
Mm-hmm. The minute she walked onto the holodeck in her costume, first time we see La'an in her Amelia costume, she walks in, she looks around at the grid, she sees Spock. First time I watched it, I was like, oh, Holo Spock. Not
oh wow, good call.
Suspecting the whole thing. I don't know what it was. I think it was just one of those like, and then he starts talking to her. I'm like, oh, not Holo Spock. It's just Spock. Okay. But I don't know. Something about the way he was standing there triggered my brain to say Holo Spock. And then at the end, I'm like, it was Holo Spock.
The second I watched it, I was like, oh, he's playing this real well. Like, you can definitely tell it's Holo Spock the second time. But yeah, the first time I was completely just not even suspecting it.
Yeah, that was faster than me, John. I was up until she figured out it was him. I was like, "Who is it? I don't know who it is." Like,
right?
I cannot figure this out. Everybody has been taken care of. Like, I don't know.
Which I do love that the computer was doing that. It was like, okay, yes, this person might be the suspect, but oh no, they actually like this situation. Right. They like the freedom. They like.
One of my favorite things they do with the holodeck this episode is they finally, and I understand in like the early 90s even, they might not have really done this, but they add in all the video game lingo, right? We get leveling up, we get difficulty level, we get one player, single player. So I'm just glad they're finally acknowledging it's a fucking big video game, guys. It's.
And I will ask, to Grayson's point, if Trip Tucker was the first person to see holodeck technology, then how did the Federation get it? I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. Spoiler alert for Enterprise. So
I was going to say I've seen that.
I really like that they took a little bit of time to explain some of this stuff. Like they used the term AI to explain the computer is thinking, right? It's doing this, and they showed why Scotty was having such difficulty with it is because it's programmed to try and take a ton of power from wherever it needs to make this simulation work. Side note, if you follow Martin Quinn on Instagram, he totally posted photos from this episode with the song Scotty Doesn't Know attached to it. So, I mean, if we needed more reasons to love him, there they are.
That's fantastic.
That's amazing.
It is so funny that La'an is so much less plussed than any character in TNG who walks onto the holodeck in like the first 2 or 3 seasons.
Oh yeah,
everyone who walks on, oh my, it's so real. And she just walks in, and is like, oh, that's pretty cool. Oh, yeah. I feel like I'm in the novel. That's neat.
I can almost smell the cigarettes. And
yeah, it's because I mean, you brought up Elementary Dear Data, and it's funny. I'm going back and re-listening to Green Shirt. I don't. Maybe that makes me something, but I've been re-listening to the old seasons, and Today I'm listening to Elementary Dear Data, and it is funny because Pulaski walks on, and her first line is, or they ask her, like, have you never been on a holodeck, Doctor? And she's like, well, never one this realistic. Now, look, I get it. We want the sumptuous, the mansion they filmed in, and the Jonathan Lee's art direction. It's beautiful. We want these actors looking beautiful in their beautiful costumes. But come on, if you're going to give me an holodeck Origins episode, give me the 8-bit holodeck. Give me like the lag time holodeck.
I want to see the GTA Vice City level graphics holodeck. I would love to go through Vice City
episode
at that graphics level.
Because that's what it would be. That's what it would be, an 80-year-old holodeck.
So you're saying you want La'an to walk onto the holodeck, say start program, and immediately become PlayStation 1 Lara Croft? Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm speaking of levels,
but
I want to
She
hear
looks
the,
good in
I
her
want to hear
costume,
the
guys.
thunk, the floppy disk sound.
Yeah.
We should, okay, so in the spirit of always doing some kind of sound edit per episode now, we should just put that PS1 startup sound of when she turns on the holodeck.
Yes.
She reaches, she's trying to grab something off the table and can't
Right.
hit it. And it's like, oh, God, just pick that up.
Would have loved to see her save her progress at a typewriter or something.
Yeah. Accidentally hit the third person view.
Right.
Like, what is happening to me?
Wait, I put my comm badge in this drawer, but now I can pick it up in this drawer? Okay.
And Cam, you mentioned how holodeck episodes are often an excuse to go shoot on location. And Jonathan Frakes, in your interview with him, mentioned that the cast loved being on location. And watching it, I was like, intuitively, I knew, like, this is not a set, they're on location. But the second time I watched it, I was like, who owns this house? It is incredibly over-decorated. Like, is it a tourist attraction? Is it an Airbnb? Like, what is it? Because the paintings, there's paintings on every square inch of the walls. The banisters are carved. Like, this is the most holodeck house ever. And it is real, which is amazing to me.
Just going back to your catching Spock, I did notice the second time through, like, when he leaves, he doesn't call for Arch. I thought that was a nice little Easter egg, a little you can pick up.
And
which I obviously did not the first time.
I was watching to see if he was on any of the bridge scenes while that was supposed to
Yeah,
be going
that's
on.
what I was going to say. What was Spock doing during all this?
Right.
I know. He gets some time
Like, was
off,
he just
too.
asleep?
I guess.
Like, they weren't doing anything critical until Scotty messed up and it became critical.
But he was not at the science station for a science experiment?
Yeah.
Oh,
The
that's
cut
true.
scene of him like meditating and opening his eyes and seeing a gamma ray burst heading toward him, like, maybe I should go to the bridge.
I should get to the
I feel
bridge.
like
Happens every time I'm not on the bridge. I take one day off to practice my dance moves so I can get some smoochy smooch from Lon.
Well, our callers did have some other thoughts. Let's go ahead and hear what they thought about the director of this episode.
And Jonathan Frakes, who directed the episode. I think he understood the assignment and he did a great job with it. I appreciated especially the bloopers at the end, the little Riker maneuver. That was fun.
It makes me so happy that Jonathan Frakes was at the helm of both of these little subgenres that we got. And then, of course, the damage done to the helm itself was because Jonathan Frakes was there on the set, and I just love that.
I can't not mention the Riker. I love that, especially knowing Jonathan was directing.
So Cam, you were the only one. You got to talk to Jonathan Frakes again.
Yeah.
And he directed the hell out of this episode, man.
Well, again, and I brought this up to him. I could have spent the whole 10 minutes just talking about, like, there's 3 very different shows he's directing in this one episode.
Yeah.
Like, there's the classic Star Trek, then there's The Last Frontier, which is, if you want, like, the editing is so purposefully bad in those sequences. It's so good. And then, of course, the classic 70s murder mystery, which I liked his answer was, he didn't necessarily go watch any of those, but he had been in 70s TV show murder mysteries when he was coming up as an actor. And so I forgot he had all that hands-on experience.
Yeah, and that's another thing is surprising to me about the negativity this episode is receiving. Is because it's like, usually when people know Frakes directed the episode, they're going to give it yards and yards of slack before they complain about anything. And they're not this time. It's like they're now suddenly no credit for Jonathan Frakes. Like, the guy knows what he's doing. I think in the Starship scenes, like the real life scenes, he totally directs this crew like the TNG crew. They're a little warmer. They're a little softer. They're kind of poking and having fun with each other. Like, that's something that Riker and Picard did all the time. Like, they're here to be friendly while doing their job. And I think that absolutely comes through. And I believe it's his voice during the bloopers yelling, "Action! Okay, shake to the left, shake to the right." Like,
yes, for the stage, the fighting directions. Yeah, I think that was
probably.
And I was like,
probably.
This season of Strange New Worlds is batting 1,000 on voice cameos.
For sure. Yeah. And, he had done so many holodeck episodes, both in front of and behind the camera. So, he's mentioned he really liked being able to have Scotty kind of talk to her through the camera, which was a moment I loved. If you going back to listening to old Green Shirt episodes, if you listen to me on The Big Goodbye, that was exactly what this episode is. What I pitched in that episode. I was like, I want them to be stuck in the holodeck, having to solve a murder mystery. They have to solve the mystery to get out of the holodeck, but they have to work together with the people on the other side. They find some way to communicate with each other and do that. And so I watched it and I was like, this is what I pitched. I wish I liked this episode more. And again, I like a lot. It's a lot like the last episode where my notes are all lines I love, scenes I love. Just the glue isn't quite holding it together in a satisfying way for me.
Didn't Guinan call Dixon's desk at some point? Like on the
she came in with him sometimes.
No,
I don't remember her calling from outside.
No, I think you're right.
She picked up the call or something.
That's what it was.
Or,
yeah. Well, Cameron, I can't believe you're taking credit for this idea and not liking the execution. That blows my mind.
I'm the worst. I'm the worst.
Our callers aren't the worst, they are the best. So let's hear from another caller. Here is Platty.
Hey, Open Pike Night, this is Platium3 calling in with my hits, shits, and giggles. All right, hit. I love the colored phasers on their belts at the start. I love that the holodeck was initially called the Recreation Room. Haha, nice TAS callback to the Recreation Room. I love that Ahura totally sussed out Scotty's lies immediately. Didn't last long. Speaking of Uhura, I loved Holohura and her great meta commentary on Star Trek in general. And yay, we got more Mitchell. All right, shit. Initially, just look at the stitching on the crotch of Ortegas's space outfit. That was horrible. Also, shitty holodeck doesn't stop and the safeties are off, of course. Also, oh my god, I am sick and tired of shitty Spock relationship stuff. That's not why I watch Star Trek. I'm over that completely. All right, giggles. I loved all the fake outtakes at the end, including the failed Riker maneuver, and I had lots of lines that I love from, I'm an actor, not a doctor, right? Doesn't watch television? He's a communist.
Loved it.
And then my lines and my skirts have been getting shorter. Hilarious. All right, this is Platinum 3 signing off.
I caught on almost immediately. Great line from her right there with you, Platty.
Yes. We got it is a strange choice to have Scotty on his own dealing with this, but then he brings in Uhura and it's like, oh, this is why they're doing it. Because that I think is part of what really threw me too. It's like, why is he being cagey about this with Una? It's like, oh yeah, so that he can get to Uhura and they can have their own little start to build their relationship. And it's great.
Their
like
relationship's great.
Yeah, I don't know if Anson is listening in or just this is just straight up television. Maybe it's all maybe it's a 60s trope where it's like, these two people are talking 7 feet from the person they're talking about, but that person cannot hear them for some reason.
So good. And real quick with Una and Scotty, I love that when Una pats his shoulder, it hurts him because I really do feel we need more not reminders but references to the fact that she has superhuman strength.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't have to hide this anymore. She is a superhuman on the ship.
And she has superhuman manicures. We finally got Una's nails back. She had like the silver metallic finish on them this week. And I was like,
nice.
I'm here for that. And I think one of our callers
It's
asked.
been way too long since we...
can we get more of her nails? Because they're always immaculate.
Yeah. Platty, and you're absolutely right. 100 years later, and they still haven't fixed the shit with the holodeck. What have you guys been doing? The holodeck is still locking up and trapping people in it 100 years later?
I mean, we're talking a 10% success rate with holodeck visits.
Yeah.
Like the chances you have of dying going on holodeck, it's like getting in a car and driving to work. The most dangerous thing you do is get in the car every day when you go to work. But
true.
The most dangerous thing you do on a starship is get on the holodeck. It doesn't matter who's outside the window, arming up their photon torpedoes.
Wait, does this mean Barkley is the most successful holodeck user ever?
Kind of. Kind of.
Because he only goes on there and has a good time and everything's fine.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right. Like, he's never... Well, we don't know that.
Like Grayson
Barkley
said,
files.
Trip Tucker, he went and saw the holodeck, and what happened to him? He got knocked up. I'd say the holodeck safeties were off for that one, too. Like, from the beginning, just bad luck with holodecks, man.
Yeah. And now, here's the thing. Like, there are certain characters in this where the analog is obvious, right? We've got Kirk, we've got Gene Roddenberry, we've got Lucy Ball. I think Ortegas has the most interesting character because she's credited as the Doctor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's absolutely channeling Bones McCoy in some of those scenes on the TV show. Like, she's a little exasperated with the captain and skeptical about his ideas. And and she even gets the "I'm an actor, not a doctor" line.
And such an organic use of it. Like, it really fit in the moment. I thought that was great.
She had an Instagram live chat today with Robert Picardo, who plays the Doctor on Voyager and the upcoming Academy series. And it was really a treat to watch. Definitely recommend you go check that out. She was having a ton of fun doing this. And to your note about the costuming, Platty, Melissa had posted something on Instagram about there are certain things I will only do for Jonathan Frakes. I assume wearing that costume is what she was talking about. None of these costumes look comfortable the way that the Strange New Worlds ones do.
I love just how on display, this sounds bad, how on display, Last Frontier Chapel's underwear is. Because it's just underwear, and there is no skirt. It's like a long belt. It's a wide belt, basically, is what she has.
That's an homage to Michelle Nichols Uhura. Like, there are episodes of TOS where you're like, wow, they did not do another take. And I think it's saved by the fact that we know that Nichelle liked wearing the miniskirt and she thought it was an empowering thing to be able to do on television. But you're right. I mean, there's nothing that they shied away from in this. And I think that to have a successful parody or a successful homage, you have to take the bad with the good. And I feel that they absolutely did that here all the way through. And, maybe the folks that don't like it or feel it was mean-spirited are just seeing those parts shine through more. But to me, it wouldn't work without those. Like, you need to understand, like, this was a little corny. Like, no matter what it spawned and how much we love it, it's corny. And that's okay.
And I think people who are hating on this and be like, it's mean-spirited or something, it's like, okay, it's not just making fun of Star Trek, though. It's making fun of Star Trek. Like, this is a meta, like, this is making fun of everybody who did a bad Kirk impression on the, when they were in junior high 50 years ago. Like, I'm sure the people who are angry about it is like, you have parodied Star Trek in your daily life. I guarantee it. If you're this up in arms about it, like, it is. I feel like this episode, more than any we've talked about, like, reinforces my oft repeated refrain. Like, this is culture.
Yes,
this is not pop culture anymore. Star Trek may never have been must-see TV. It may never have been the highest-ranked thing that was aired, besides, I don't know, maybe All Good Things that that aired the night it aired. But even that, it's never been the mainstream thing. But it has always been there. I mean, it's been there for generations.
Well,
now.
And the parts that feel mean, like, telling the Maxwell Saint character that maybe you could deliver this line like a human. It's like, we know that there was friction among the cast members of TOS. Like, that is absolutely real. Why not use that as part of the storytelling? We know that Gene Roddenberry, part of the reason he made the movie was because, he really liked making money, right? Like, the IDIC symbol was invented as a piece of merchandise that he could sell to make money from the show. And we know that at some point he went, all right, let's turn this into a movie instead of another TV series, right? So, like, I don't know. They take the good with the bad, but it's loving and it's true to life all the way through. And that, for me, that's a big part of why this episode works and why I love it so much, again, after giving it the chance to have its own space.
And we did have some callers who had thoughts about the costumes too, so let's hear what they had to say.
Hello, guys. Thanks for having me on the stage again. It's Isaac from the Trek 365 podcast. I'm not going to lie. I'm here mostly to hear what Abby has to say about the costumes in this episode.
It's Abby Summer from the First Flight podcast. Okay, first of all, I'm just going to say costumes, 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 costumes. How much fun these were, all the little details, and everybody looked spectacular. spectacular.
The settings and costumes are amazing.
I did love the costumes. I think the costuming department has been phenomenal this season. They deserve an Emmy.
Yeah. And one of the callers mentioned that we need to make sure we get Bernadette Croft on. I think we should do an entire season of episodes with Bernadette Croft.
We have talked to her. She's busy prepping season 5, but hopes to have time at the end of the season to sit down and talk to us about all of season 3's costumes.
Yes. Hell yeah.
She hinted that they had a lot of fun with episode 2, of course, the wedding episode. This episode, of course, they had a lot of fun with. And episode 10 was a big, fun episode for the costume department. I hope I'm not getting in trouble by sharing that, but I think that's an appropriate tease.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I haven't seen episode 10 yet.
Bernadette and her team are stars. There's no way around it.
Yeah.
Like, whatever they do after Strange New Worlds is going to win awards and take them further than they could ever have imagined. And, maybe eventually Strange New Worlds will get the Emmy love that it deserves and the level of awards that it should be getting. I know it's hard for sci-fi to do that, but I completely agree that there should be awards happening for this show, specifically for the costumes. So in an episode full of amazing costumes, I have to just say, I think Scotty's might still have been my favorite. It was just a guy in a t-shirt. It was
here's your sandwich,
yeah,
sir. That kind of.
Everybody's costume was so specific. Here's the ingenue with the fur, and here's the Jimi Hendrix character, and they even called him like Mick Bowie. Yeah.
Mick Bowie, we got a David Bowie reference in Star Trek.
It was all so specific and well done. And then you have Scotty as a PA. I'm like, that's the one I'm locking in on.
Yep. Yeah, we have a couple other short call montages here. The first one is about Lon's character, about Amelia. Let's go and hear what folks had to say.
I was expecting and hoping for an actual murder mystery on board ship for Lan to solve. She deserves a chance, and it would be an intense episode. But the holodeck version was a fair substitution, and it was good to see her get excited about the chance to portray a heroine from her favourite book.
The murder mystery story with Amelia Moon is a great idea, and having Holospock being the murderer, well, I like it. Especially the way she found out about him being a hologram.
At first, I don't know why the name Amelia made me think like kids' adventure books. Like Amelia is just not one of those names you picture, but this is more like Sue Grafton, right? We're talking like this series of books isn't, I'm betting it's like sort of, like there's probably some sex in this series of books, right? Amelia hooks up with suspects every now and then. She's got to.
She's got to, yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
This is John calling back to the last episode where he asked for, quote, more nudity, please.
Well, it's not that. I'm just like, at first, I don't know, the name Amelia, like immediately I think, first off, Amelia Bedelia, Amelia Pond from Doctor Who. This whole third season of Strange New Worlds, it feels extremely close to Doctor Who to me. Like there are some bigger parallels with this than we've seen in previous seasons. But I was just sitting here watching it, like, no, there's definitely books in this where like Amelia's hooking up with somebody who turns out to be, a linchpin to the mystery. I'm not hoping for that in this episode, but it definitely threw me off.
You're saying it fits the story.
Well,
she
does make out with the killer at the
That's
end.
True. She does make out with the killer. Yeah. I missed this on the holodeck part. I love the 21 Jump Street of it all, where they're all like, who's this asshole and why is he wearing pajamas?
Guys, again, Hollow Kirk is, yes. And who is that guy? That's my biggest laugh out line. Also a little different, but I also love that Hollow Kirk nails the mystery in a hilarious line when they ask if he killed him, and he goes, nope. Did you?
Right. Yeah.
It just sounds like him being petulant, but then, oh no, he nailed it. It was Spock who killed him. You're right.
Now, I do wonder, should La'an have been suspicious 40 seconds earlier than she was? Because when Spock gets shot, there's this huge splash of green blood. And she goes, oh my gosh, you're hurt. And it's like a tiny little bullet hole, and it's just sort of dripping blood. I'm like, He just got shot up front, very close with a revolver, and there was a giant splash of blood. Like his shoulder should be obliterated, but I guess it was a small caliber pistol, so I suppose that's fair.
Now, another holodeck kind of tropey thing, I don't know. And it ties back into like the story I was watching with La'an, which is why these characters. Again, it's Hollow Kirk. It's not Kirk at all. It's not these actors Star Trek characters at all. They are just their faces put on these murder mystery characters because they're the random ones Scotty picked who had been in the transporter. Why would Kirk be in there? Kirk hasn't transported on the ship in months. At least probably 6 months. He hasn't been there.
But he has done it many times.
Not as many as anyone else who works on this ship.
Most
What
of
are
the
you
Kirk
talking?
we've seen has not been Prime Universe.
Right. He's been on the ship twice. And I think on one of them he beamed on and then off and then back on again. So he's in the transporter logs like 6 times. It doesn't make sense. But he wouldn't pick Spock or any
Patel.
other...
Yeah.
Or Sam Kirk or anyone else. Yeah. Sam Kirk should have been the dead body.
Sam Kirk
should have played the dead body, and I personally would have loved to see Hemmer playing a character.
Oh, shit. They could have.
Damn it.
Jesse.
They absolutely could.
I just made the episode worse for Cameron.
But what I feel they should have done, because again, the story I'm tracking with La'an is she fell head over heels in love with this Kirk guy, got rejected by him, doesn't really know what to do, is starting to fall for Spock. So why not have Scotty give her a list, like, here's a list of people in the transporter log, pick who you want. And of course she picks, like, her buddies and the captain, and she's scanning through, and then, there's Kirk. Let's put him in there. She picks Kirk. She goes in there and has an emotional response to seeing this man who she fucking ugly cried over and then got rejected by, because she does not react to Hollow Kirk at all in that way in this episode. And I feel that is a big misstep. And she could have used this time on the holodeck to get over that and realize she can move on to Spock, because that's what happens at the end of this episode. And all this talk of work-life balance is just, I'm not tracking that at all. I don't know what La'an's story is in this episode.
I don't disagree that they could have done something with the moment she sees, air quotes, Kirk. I think that's probably a good point. But for me, this is the first time we see La'an play, like, ever, right? We've never seen her relaxing. We've never seen what she does to relax. So to learn that she was really into these novels when she was younger and then get to see her play that out, I feel like Christina Chong did a really good job of playing fun La'an, and La'an with her guard a little bit down because she is having fun. And like, part of that is, she likes the job she has. She likes being security chief, and she has a little cockiness. She's like, well, as the best investigator on the ship, So I think for me, that aspect of it works. I don't have any issue with that, but I do agree that they could have done something with the, Kirk stand-in character.
If it's going to be a romance story at the end, like wrap that one up if he's there.
Yeah. And we know that she is not busy, taking care of the young orphan girl that she took under her wing a couple seasons ago, because in true Star Trek fashion, she just broomed her just like they do with every other orphan kid we've seen found on Star Trek.
Didn't she mention finding somewhere for her to live in the Broken Circle?
Did. Yeah, I mean,
that's a throwaway line. Yeah. Season 2, episode 1.
Yeah. She's not as bad as Worf. Come on, John.
Yeah. All right, let's hear. We had some, I'm going to call this miscellaneous comments about different stuff from some of our callers. Here we go.
Scotty keeping such a serious situation from the captain, Uhura helping him.
I also love the Uhura and Scotty moment on the bridge. I thought that was a fun way to move forward their friendship and the plot.
My only other issue was having Una just kind of nonchalantly reinstate Erica, and then having Erica back at the helm for a brief scene like nothing had happened last week. It felt like a real weak, unsatisfying resolution of that story thread.
Oh yeah, hey, you guys remember that there was a whole neutron star part of this episode? Like the whole real world part?
Yeah.
And I think for me that goes back to, why was this not Erica's episode? Why was she not the one being given time off, being given something fun to do? Like, have her go through a catharsis on the holodeck. Like, let her unwind a little bit. but I also
I would love to see Eric Ortegas' holodeck.
it's just banjos,
relaxation.
banjos wall to wall everywhere.
Yeah.
Steve Martin is there.
It would have even been fun if, like, you know, when they found her body in the holodeck, and then La'an's in there alone with the body, and Ortegas is like, "I'm just gonna keep napping. Yeah, I'm actually here. I just decided to sneak in and play. Yeah,
I'm acting.
Like, how did you get on deck? Yeah. How am I doing so far?
Yeah, I didn't bump too much on her being just because I know, like, her story is not over yet. Like, it's going to come back. So, like, we had the moment. We got to get her back on the helm because she's the pilot. She flies the ship,
and
so.
they needed the best pilot they had for that moment. So, like,
It's a good balance of the episodic serialization. Yeah.
But I fully agree on Scotty and Uhura. Like, they always had kind of a fun dynamic in TOS in the episodes where they were afforded screen time.
I did bump a little bit also that Uhura especially didn't tell Pike that something was going on, but I guess it was because she's so fresh out of being an ensign herself, she can relate and wants to help.
Well, that, and I think it is also her showing some confidence in Scotty, like Sam Kirk showed in her when they were in the chamber on Mahani. Like, you are supposed to be here. This is, or maybe that was Spock. You are supposed to be here. This is your job. This is why we brought you with. And I think she's trying to do the same thing for him. Like, she's saying, like, and there was no moment where she didn't understand it was hypothetical. So it was funny that Scotty like felt the need to be like, you understood that, right? She's like, I'm good.
Almost immediately,
it's fine. Don't worry.
We have a rapport already. Don't worry.
Also, I am not stupid. I can see that you're very nervous. Like,
communications expert right here.
I got it all.
But, and, you know, to that point, like,
fluent in sarcasm.
Pike knows it's a
and desperation.
Well, and Pike knows it's a problem as soon as it becomes a real problem. Like, up until then, it's like, he might be able to fix this before something bad happens.
It's like trying to run a candy line, you know, trying to keep up with those chocolates coming down the conveyor.
Sometimes you got to just start eating them.
Yep, exactly.
One after the other.
Yeah,
your BFF. My rando comments, I guess, that haven't fit anywhere else. Love the little film preservation line we get in there. That's nice. Thank you, writers. I do like the logic of her realizing she has to say and solve the mystery. Look, we have to catch the killer because the killer can kill us. So that's why I'm still playing the game. Because at that point, it could be like, why is she still trying to solve the mystery? So I thought it was a good reason for people on the inside and outside of the holodeck to try to get the mystery solved.
My favorite thing that didn't seem to matter, but in retrospect actually works really well for Uhura's entire murder mystery character, they gave her a cigarette. They never let her light it.
Never let her
So
light
by
it.
the time she's having her like speech about the importance of the show, she's Nick fitting like crazy. And she's like, I'm going to go way over the top with this because I'm having feelings right now. It's like,
I didn't even realize that till like the third watch, where I was like, "Oh, this is a running." She has never gotten it lit once when she goes up to the fireplace at the end. That was a good runner. I like that a lot.
Searching dead bodies for a lighter,
and they know people in the 70s would be smoking in a house this nice, but they also know we cannot put that on TV in the year 2025. Like, it was so well done.
Yeah. Even going so far as to call her William Morris.
Yeah. Like, La'an knows her Earth history. People want to talk about how much of a nerd Picard is. La'an knows her history.
I was wondering if that was just like a line Amelia. That's like an Amelia Moon
I took
catchphrase.
That as Yes, I took that as an Amelia Moon.
She calls everyone William Morris. Anyone who smokes, that's her nickname for them.
Yeah, let's go ahead and hear just sort of a gathering of how everybody felt about this episode before we get to our final thoughts on this episode.
This episode was a bit of a mixed bag for me, and before you throw me out an airlock, just hear me out.
Airlocker!
This is Michi, and I might be one of the few who don't think this is a great episode.
Overall, I did like the idea of the ep, and the performances were excellent, but I feel like it could have gone further into parody or should have kept it straight. It kind of felt like it was an awkward mix, but still a good episode.
Guys, I'm really happy with that. This is probably my favorite episode so far this season.
In my opinion, a great episode should have fresh new ideas, be inspiring, surprising and captivating, maybe even willing to take risks. This episode has none of that.
Very fun episode.
I think this one's going to be divisive. I think that people are going to love it or hate it. I personally really loved it.
All right, Cam.
The gamut.
What's your problem?
I said my problem. I love all the different scenes. I love what it tried to do. There's the glue at the end. I was like, I don't know.
This
character arc.
episodes of all we've seen so far in this season, I think they could have done with an extra 20 minutes in this episode. I think having it be more movie length would have helped on both sides of the holodeck. It would have helped Scotty and Uhura and really putting we needed one more step in the ratcheting up of that side. It just feels like it started ratcheting too fast to it wasn't a little bit of an issue. Like Scotty's already panicking running around the room, and then just for the Amelia thing, it needed to be more like Clue. It needed that residence time of the characters just interacting and being the characters.
And sort of like last episode with it was this episode with zombies and not a zombie episode. Yep. This kind of felt like an episode with a murder mystery, but not a murder mystery episode. And I get that's not what it was. It was a love letter to Star Trek, but it wanted to be both.
Yes.
So I think both I and Marcy have now been off on our prediction of which episode would be Cameron's favorite this season.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was the wedding comedy of all.
Not the zombie episode, not the noir murder mystery, but the wedding episode.
The wedding.
So I remember talking to you guys after the first time I saw this, and I remember talking to you, maybe a week after that and going, guys, I don't know. Like, there's something about this is not clicking with me. And I know I mentioned it already, but I think it was the proximity that I watched it in with Shuttlecock and Forey, because I watched them back to back. I think having a week between them on a normal viewing, I would have liked this episode more on my first watch. But now that I'm on my third watch of this episode, I'm completely here for it. I absolutely love it. I had a ton of fun. The character work is amazing. The performances are amazing. The detailing on everything, from the set to the on location shots, like to the pastiche they did. It looks like it was filmed in the 70s or the 60s. I was absolutely blown away once I paid enough attention to love this, and I do love it. Having said all of that, it's hard for me to say that this is my favorite episode of the season. I don't think that it is. I was really glad to hear that it was Sarah's favorite episode of the season, because I want this episode to have love. And I think what I like the most about knowing that it's his favorite is that it is reminding me that every episode is somebody's favorite. Like, there are people out there who, maybe not Code of Honor, but there are people out there that Masks is their favorite episode. Like, there's people whose favorite episode probably happens in Enterprise. Like, it really is a show that caters to so many different kinds of fans. And to the mention of bringing new ideas and fresh things to Star Trek, I don't disagree with that at all. But I will say, I know from my time on social media, this is the first Star Trek that a lot of folks have ever watched. Because, for my wife, for example, she always described this show, Star Trek in general, to me as, when I was a kid, that was a show about adults talking, and I didn't want to watch that. And it's like, that's an accurate portrayal of what this show is a lot of the time and across a lot of the series. But this show, this series in particular, is bringing in a ton of new fans, because people are going, I didn't know Star Trek was full of gorgeous people. I didn't know that it was fun and dramatic and heart-wrenching, all these things at the same time. So for some people, this is gonna be their first holodeck episode. And I'm honestly a little jealous of those people, because I think it's a great holodeck episode. So I do love it unconditionally, but in the space of the whole season, I would not be able to honestly say that it's my favorite episode, but I do absolutely love it. I'm just glad John doesn't make us rank them anymore.
It is better than The Big Goodbye, I'll give it that. I will also say that, and I don't think there's a Strange New World episode that I didn't enjoy more the more I watched it. And this one is no different. After kind of putting a lot of the pieces together, I definitely appreciate it more and enjoy it more. Again, like the third watch, I was like, oh yeah, Hollow Hura does have kind of her own fun arc. I need to pay more attention to what's going on here. Also, kind of to your point, Jesse, I didn't get a chance to mention episode 2. if you want to get your girlfriend, and this is very stereotypical, cliche girlfriend wife sentiment, but if you want to get your girlfriend or wife into Star Trek, watch Wedding Bell Blues. Show her Wedding Bell Blues. That'll get her into Star Trek.
Or show her this episode, but start with the tango at the end. Like,
there you go. No, yeah. Honestly, if it hadn't started with Last Frontier footage, I would have enjoyed this episode more. If we hadn't seen that until they found the film reel and watched it and revealed it at that point, I would have enjoyed it a lot more, because it felt like, they highlighted it in the trailers that it's like, oh, we're going to have a parody here. And then it's honestly kind of an afterthought. Like, yeah, they had fun making the parody, but then it wasn't, that was the parody part of the love letter to Star Trek. And then it turned into the love letters to Star Trek that I feel like if they had started delivering the love letter first and then put the parody in the middle of the episode, I feel like it would have been less bumpy to me.
I had the same thought, John. I love that we got the parody intro. So,
Yes.
I mean, that was one good reason to put that up front, because you couldn't pull it otherwise.
Right.
But I was thinking more just also in like time real estate. Like, I did want a little more time with the murder mystery. And I was like, and they matched everything with that parody down to the pacing of the 60s. And it does run a little long. Some of the jokes get a little hat on hat. And I agree. Like, when they watched the film strip, we could have gotten a really fun, punchy 30, 45-second scene of it. And then
you could also have Lon make a comment like, is that really what TV was like? Because Spock had mentioned like, oh yeah, I think romance and violence are two human favorites in storytelling. And
right. Exactly. So, but it's not a bad episode.
Yeah.
It's probably pretty low on my list of, pick a Strange New Worlds episode you've seen so far. What do you want to rewatch? I'm definitely not coming back to this first.
Sure.
But it's not a bad episode. It's just not a great episode.
I was making that distinction with both last week's and this week. I don't think either are bad. I think they're both good episodes. There was just something unsatisfying is the key word I would use for both by the end.
So two things. Thing one, I would take a whole episode of The Last Frontier. Like, I'd be fine with that.
Right,
I would watch that all the way through and love it. But also, this episode, I think, might be the most episodic of the season. Like, the rest of them are all based on other storylines, character arcs that, they have to recap in that last time on Star Trek. This one, I think you could watch without the recap completely, because it's just what it is, right? There are big character moments, but I think they would work even without knowing there was a whole history between Spock and Chapel. That doesn't actually come up in this episode. It's about Lon and Spock, right? And we know that some bad stuff happened to Scotty, but you don't need those episodes because he mentions it here. So, I mean, it's interesting because I remember folks saying we want more episodic stories, and then like this one is the most episodic so far, and still there's some resistance to it. So it doesn't disappoint me that that's the reaction to it. It kind of surprises me. And I do wonder, like, as people watch it more, will they like it more too? Or is that just an us thing because we have like this hyper accelerated consumption rate for episodes of Strange New Worlds by virtue of having a podcast?
It is weird. It is weird to watch the screeners ahead of time and so close to each other without the time dilation of a week between each one.
And I know what I'm doing tonight, guys. I'll leave it at that, but I know what I'm doing after this podcast.
Back to the grindstone. Got to make a living somehow.
I would like our listeners to know we do not make a living off this podcast. Please go support us on our Patreon. For as little as $2 a month, you can help this podcast pay for itself, and pretty much that's it. We really appreciate all of our patrons.
I recently bought over $100 of our own merch with no discount because I was like, you know what? Somebody's got to be rocking these shirts.
It's your discount.
Well, I will say that I loved hearing the gamut of emotions and thoughts from all of our listeners, and I'm not mad at anyone this is their favorite episode of Strange New Worlds yet, which I've heard from multiple people. In fact, there's a line from this episode that I related with quite a bit, where I believe it was Anson Mount's Bellows, TK Bellows, who says, our fan base is small, but quite passionate.
Yeah.
So hard relate, and thank you to you all, and getting less and less small by the day. So go out there and hit those reviews and likes and subscribes and help save season 3 of the last Open Pike Night.
I do have to mention before we get out of here, Anson Mount's drunk Gene Roddenberry. Like, the spin that he puts on that is so good, because how many times have you seen an actor play somebody drunk and you're like, has this person never been drunk in their entire life? They're playing this way too big. They're incredibly sloppy, but not in a realistic way. He nails drunk, creative 70s guy. I love it.
The gradual progression of drunk is what I was impressed by.
So good.
Because it's every step of the way he hits.
Well, we do have our weekly theme where we pick a song that we feel best represents this episode. And we actually do have one last call that kind of fits with this segment. So here is Chris from Edmonton, a new caller.
Hello, Open Pike Night. Chris from Edmonton here. My Klingon name is Ustok. Just want to let everyone know that Christina Chong's amazing new single, Baby Blue Day, is out. With even Pete Peck's great baritone backing her up, is a great accompaniment for a glorious summer day. Kapla, Ustok out.
All right, Ustok, thank you for calling in. Welcome to the Open Pike Night stage. And thank you to all our great callers for calling in.
That single is so good. And to what you were saying earlier, Jesse, about the attractive cast, this episode especially, I was just watching Christina Chong's performance. She is so good. She is so talented and beautiful and can sing. I hate you, Christy Chong, with all the love and jealousy.
I do always appreciate when we hear from new callers, but I think we would be remiss if we did not mention the return of a caller, one Antipodal Kelly. We are so happy to have your voice back on the stage, and we are incredibly grateful that through all of the things that life can throw at a person, that you would take the time to sit down at your computer and send us a call on your feelings for this episode. We had a moment in our chat when we realized that you had sent something in after a while of being absent from our stage, and we are so happy to have you back. Thank you so much, and we hope to keep hearing from you as the season goes on.
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, well, I went first last time picking my song, so Jesse or Cam, who wants to go first?
Make Cam do it.
Cameron?
You can make me do it. All
you
right.
go first.
Fine. Yeah, well, I feel bad in an episode that name drops Bowie. I feel like I should pick a Bowie song, and there's some that would work, but again, kind of the through line that I grabbed onto the most was the love story. So I wanted to pick a love song, and I wanted one to be from the 70s for reasons, and I wanted it to be kind of meta. I wanted it to be about the song itself. So if you haven't guessed already, I did choose Your Song, written by Elton John. It is the poster child of like joyous, uplifting love songs. It's also, again, about the song itself. It's about writing the song. It's about art and artists and what you can achieve with art and like how you're not good at some, but you're better at others. A lot of like themes this episode deals with. It's about self-doubt and kind of self-deprecating with lyrics like, I sat on the roof, watched the moss grow. I don't have the lyrics up, but something about like a couple of the verses had me quite cross. That's it. And so, again, it's about like, even despite its flaws, something can still transcend and be this inspirational anthem. Much like the song, much like Star Trek, despite its flaws, it's better than the sum of its parts. But whoever's editing this, just put a needle scratch on that Elton John song right now, because I am not choosing the Elton John
This is
version.
so cheating.
To add another layer to this onion, I am using the Ewan McGregor cover from Moulin Rouge, because let's just get super meta about this. There's an actor playing a writer, singing a song, a love ballad by a rock star in the most like theatrical and out there and costume and production design heavy production of the last 20 years. God, I hope it's younger than 20 years. So that, for all those reasons, I'm choosing Your Song, written by Elton John, sang by Ewan McGregor and some opera singer I'm not sure about.
Hey, Cameron, great pick, and 24 years.
Since Moulin Rouge. Stake through the heart. You're right. I watched it in college. Oh, you're right. Whew. But much like Star Trek, it came back after a long hiatus with an amazing stage production. I did not think I was going to like the stage production as much as I did. My mom got me tickets to it. I was like, well, I like the movie, but is the play gonna... The play is amazing. Check it out. They use some of the best songs from the movie. They add in newer songs from the last 24 years. And it's real good.
I like that pick.
But they still haven't put the sunscreen song in there yet?
No. Did they? They might have.
Oh, yeah.
They might have.
All right, Jesse, what do you got?
So I feel like I've been struggling this season every week. Part of it is because I forgot we were doing this in the first couple of episodes, and so I had to scramble at the last minute. For this one, my struggle is coming from I really want to stick to my genre. I want hard rock or I want metal. But this episode is so fun and bubbly, and it's about love and all that stuff. And I could not find something that fit those parameters well. I just couldn't do it. I was like, should I cop out? Should I go with the theme song from Are You Afraid of the Dark? Because it's like fun, but also a mystery. Like, I don't know what I should do. And then it hit me. I need a love song that's fun, but I want to stick to my genre. So I found a metal cover of Love You Like a Love Song by Selena Gomez. By Cryptic Rebirth on YouTube. It's fun, it's bouncy, it's hard, it's got the guitars going on. But it actually fits really well lyrically, right? Every beautiful thought's been already sung. And that's this episode in a nutshell. It's things we've seen before in Star Trek. But sometimes you have to lean on those things. To me, it fits so well because that song is about, I know this is a cliche. I know people have said things like this before. But you are a centerfold miracle. And what is Strange New Worlds if not the most gorgeous miracle of Star Trek production in the last 24 years, Cameron? So that's my pick for this week. And I'm glad I finally realized, oh, right, I can just do a cover of a song that would fit otherwise.
All right, well, I definitely see where you could come from with picking a love song for this episode. The romance aspect of it, but that's not what this episode is, guys.
Mm-hmm.
This is a Star Trek parody. This is a love letter to Star Trek and making fun of Star Trek. There is one song that fits that category. That song is Star Trekkin' by The Firm from 1987. Star Trekkin' Across the Universe.
Star Trekkin' across the universe. On the Starship Enterprise under Captain Kirk. Star Trekkin' across the universe.
Guys, there is a song written about this episode. This episode is the TV episode version of that song. If you have not heard that song, Cam, you look confused. You have not heard Star Trekkin'? Oh, man. Ooh, yeah. It is absolutely, it is just a, a Partridge in a Pear Tree style song, just parodying every character.
I feel like I've heard about it.
I'm sure you've heard about it. I'm sure you've heard the song.
Oh my God, I'm watching the video right now, John.
The insane claymation
what
video.
am I watching right now?
Also, the voice in between. This song came out in 87. The voice that introduces each new character is basically the Borg voice before the Borg ever existed.
All these characters look like they have buttholes for mouths, John.
Yes, they absolutely do. And yeah, so yeah, this Star Trek and Across the Universe, that's what this episode is in Strange New Worlds television.
Uhura with Uhura earrings.
Yes.
This is amazing, John. I'm so glad you brought this to my attention.
I'm going to finish watching this when we're done.
Oh, yeah. Potato Spock. I've seen Potato Spock.
Yep.
Oh, I used the Potato Spock reaction gif on somebody last week.
I mean, Spock, it's life, Jim, but not as we know it. Yeah, Spock, he's alive, but not as we know it because he's a hologram. It's worse than that. He's dead, Jim. It's a murder mystery.
All right, John wins.
It cannot change the laws of physics. Yeah, Scotty, you got to sneak in there and work with the program. You can't change the program. I mean, it's just Star Trekking. The song is Star
Beautiful.
Trekking for this one.
John,
Beautiful.
this led me to Google songs about Captain Kirk, and
99 Red Balloons.
There's
Intergalactic.
Yep, Intergalactic.
There's a song called "Shatner of the Mount" by Fall on Your Sword. I want to check that out too. Like, there's you're right. John,
there's one that really references TNG a lot. I've thought we should put together a Star Trek songs that reference Star Trek list.
Yeah. I mean, one of my favorite karaoke songs is Pure Energy, the techno song, which just has lines from Star Trek in it as part of the song.
Yeah.
John wins.
Yeah.
John wins this week.
Yeah. 100%.
That's what the episode is. Yeah. So we had 18. We had more callers than we've ever had before, Jesse. How can folks...
Nice job with the montage.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad they worked. I think if we keep getting this many calls, like it seems a little easier to get to the topic. Just pull out the topics. See, like there are some calls where it's like, well, this is just a different kind of commentary. I'll keep whole calls in there, but and new callers, get their voices heard on the stage. But it seemed a lot smoother. I enjoyed it, so appreciate it. But those calls, we need those calls because your voices, like we say, are our prime directive. And Jesse, how can we get those calls?
We are going to want your calls so bad for next week's episode. And the easiest way for you to get them here is to just go to openpike.com. There's a little button right there. You can record straight from your phone. If you prefer to take multiple runs at your call, if you need to do some editing beforehand, anything like that, go ahead, record an MP3 and send it to openpike@gmail.com. If you want to know when we need your calls, it's every week, but we do put a reminder out on social media where you can follow us at Open Pike. And of course, if you join the Open Pike Night Discord, we put our calls to action in there as well.
Also, if you're listening to this on your way to Star Trek Las Vegas, which you might be, be sure to come find us. We'll be wandering around. Hit us up on socials and we'll meet up. If that fails, you can find our panel Sunday morning at 11:30-ish, I think. I think Sunday's still a little in flux, but check the schedule. We're going to be in Vic's Lounge there, so come hang out, watch us, say hi. Let's get up to some hijinks, some shenanigans.
We would also love for you to go to the Greatest Trek, Greatest Generation booth and ask them, so you guys are Open Pike Night, right? Because, that would be great, right?
They'd appreciate that.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
The more of you who do that, be like, oh, yeah, so which one of you is Cam? Which one of you is Jesse? Yeah.
One of them is named Harrison.
That's true.
Also, as you may have noticed, we've been putting out more stuff on YouTube. We were hoping that maybe the YouTube algorithm might send some people our way, and it seems like it might be. So you could definitely help us out. Go over there, throw some likes, just hit subscribe. You don't actually have to watch anything if you're not a YouTube watcher, but if you hit subscribe on us, that'll help a lot in just getting our stuff out to more people.
You do also get automatically generated captions there, which might help kind of separate some of our thoughts out. And I made a video with a unicorn puppet. Like, what's not to like?
It currently has 666 views, so someone needs to come bump us over that.
Well, it's been a long night, and, well, the Open Pike Night crew has been selected to be the first ones to clean out the holodeck filters on the Starship Enterprise. So
I knew it.
Please be sure to clean up after yourselves. Please be sure to tip your servers. You can go anywhere you want, but you can't stay here.